Don't scroll. Just stop for a second. If the last 7 days felt strange, like something quiet was moving underneath your life, this is for you. Because after a shift, you don't instantly feel happy. You feel different, calmer, sharper, less willing to tolerate noise. And that's exactly when most people panic and sprint back to the old timeline. So listen closely. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you 7 signs your new timeline has already started, plus the one mistake that can undo it. If even one line feels too accurate, it's because you're already in the next phase. Now breathe. Let's begin. Most people think a timeline shift is a loud event, a new job, a breakup, a sudden win. But real shifts happen before anything changes outside. It starts when your nervous system stops negotiating with chaos. You walk into rooms you used to tolerate, and your chest tightens. You open apps that used to distract you, and it feels empty. You hear certain voices, and your energy drops instantly. That's not weakness. That's information. Because the next version of you has a different frequency, and the old environment can't match it. So life does something brutal and beautiful. It removes what doesn't fit. Sometimes it's people fading. Sometimes it's habits losing their comfort. Sometimes it's a no that rises in your body before your mind can argue. And here's the warning. In this phase, you don't need more motivation. You need a map, so you don't confuse peace with boredom and clarity with loneliness. So let's go sign by sign. If you recognize 2 or more, you're already across the threshold. Sign 1 is simple. You start craving silence, and noise starts to feel painful. Not just loud music, loud people, loud opinions, loud drama. The conversations that used to entertain you suddenly feel like static in your chest. You scroll for a few minutes and feel drained, not entertained. You walk into a room and instantly want to leave. And what's confusing is, you can't always explain it. You just feel your energy pulling back like it's protecting something fragile. Because it is. When a new timeline begins, your nervous system becomes selective. It stops rewarding chaos with attention. It stops confusing stimulation with connection. So if you've been choosing quiet more often, if you've been turning your phone over without thinking, if you've been needing space to breathe, that's not you becoming cold. That's you becoming clear. Tell me to continue when you're ready. Sign 2 is when people start disappearing, not with a fight, not with a dramatic goodbye. They just fade. The messages slow down. The invitations stop. The connection feels thinner, like the signal is dying. And the strangest part is this. You don't chase it the way you used to. The old you would double text, over-explain, try to fix the distance. But now, you feel neutral, almost relieved, because deep down, you know what's happening. When your timeline shifts, your energy stops feeding what can't evolve. Some people don't leave because they hate you. They leave because they can't access the version of you that used to respond on command. And that's a blessing, disguised as loneliness. So if you've been losing people without drama, you're not being punished. You're being cleared. Sign 3 is when you stop needing to explain yourself. You stop trying to be understood by everyone. The old you would overtalk, over-justify, over-prove that you're a good person. You'd replay conversations in your head, searching for the perfect sentence that would finally make them get it. But now, something changes. You realize a hard truth. People who want to misunderstand you will do it anyway. And people who see you won't need a speech. So you start choosing clarity over performance. You let them think what they want. You let them tell their version. You let the story be wrong without correcting it. And at first that feels scary because it's new. But then it feels powerful. Because the moment you stop explaining, you stop leaking energy. And when you stop leaking energy, your new timeline gains momentum. That quiet confidence is alignment. Sign 4 is when your intuition gets louder. Not in a magical fairy tale way, in a practical way. You just know. You meet someone and your body tightens for no reason. You read a message and something feels off, even if the words look normal. You consider a decision and you feel a quiet no before your mind starts negotiating. And later, you realize you were right. Not because you guessed, because your nervous system is finally telling the truth. For a long time, you trained yourself to override signals. You called anxiety love. You called tension chemistry. You called exhaustion normal. But a new timeline comes with a new filter. It starts rejecting what your mind used to tolerate. So, if you've been trusting your gut more, if you've been leaving situations faster, if you've been noticing red flags without doubting yourself, that's not paranoia. That's protection. Sign 5 is subtle, but it's powerful. Small opportunities start showing up, not a miracle, not a lottery win, just doors, a message you didn't expect, a chance meeting that feels strangely timed, an idea that won't leave your mind, a tiny opening that feels clean, like it doesn't require you to betray yourself. And here's how you recognize it. It doesn't come with chaos. It comes with clarity. Old timelines feel like chasing. You push, you convince, you force, you prove. New timelines invite. They show you a path, and your body feels lighter, not tighter. You don't have to sell your soul for it. You just have to say yes and walk forward. So, if a small door has opened recently, something quiet but undeniable, don't ignore it because it's not dramatic. New timelines rarely announce themselves with fireworks. They whisper, then they build. Sign 6 is when your old habits stop working. The things you used to use to numb yourself don't hit the same anymore. Scrolling feels empty. Overeating feels heavy. Arguing feels pointless. Even procrastination starts to feel painful. And that's when people panic, because the old escape routes are closing. You try to go back to the same distractions, and they don't give relief, only guilt. You try to chase the same validation, and it tastes like cardboard. You try to replay the same pattern, and your body refuses. Here's the truth. That's not punishment. That's protection. Your new timeline won't let you hide the way the old one did, because hiding keeps you stuck. So if comfort has started to feel uncomfortable, that's not the universe attacking you. That's the universe removing your anesthesia, so you can finally heal. Sign 7 is the one that confuses people the most. You feel calm, even when your life isn't fully fixed yet. The old you would spiral, overthink, demand answers immediately. But now, you can sit in uncertainty without collapsing. And it's not because you stopped caring. It's because you stopped begging the outside world to prove you're safe. You start trusting the part of you that survives. You start trusting the part of you that adapts. You start trusting the quiet voice that says, I'll handle it. And this is a huge sign, because when your timeline changes, your identity changes. You stop identifying as someone who needs constant reassurance. You stop needing people to reply to feel worthy. You stop needing perfect conditions to feel stable. You become steady first, and life rearranges second. So if you've been calmer than usual, even in the middle of uncertainty, that's not denial. That's power. Now listen, if you recognized even 2 of these signs, you're already in the new timeline. So here's what you do next. Simple, but non-negotiable. For the next 3 days, protect your peace like it's fragile. Because it is. Don't argue with people who want a reaction. Don't chase people who are fading. And don't make big decisions from panic. Instead, do 3 small things. 1. Sleep earlier than usual. Let your nervous system reset. 2. Spend 10 minutes in silence with no phone, no music, no input. 3. Write down the one habit you know pulls you backward. And pause it. Not forever, just for a week. That's enough to lock in the shift. And here's the final truth. Your new timeline doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for consistency. If this message found you at the right time, comment the number 7. And follow, because the next part is about the final test that appears right before your breakthrough, and how to pass it without losing yourself